For the past 5 years, I've been researching, testing, and perfecting how to achieve elite hair health. And in the process, I've helped thousands of people do the same. However, I noticed that almost every single person were making the same 3 mistakes. So in this video, I'll be telling you what these mistakes are, exactly what to do to quickly and easily solve them. Which personally took my waist from looking like this. And later on in this video, I'll be showing you a 30-second trick you can do to get a huge boost in your hair health. When I was 15, I couldn't give a crap about hygiene. Like, my mom literally had to force me to wash my hair, and I always dreaded it. And during lockdown, it got so bad to the point where she just decided to cut it all off, and underneath it was just a bunch of dandruff and dried skin. And a year later, when I finally started my wave journey and just grabbed typical products you'll get from the store, like Cantu, my mom noticed this and told me it would just make my hair dry. And I couldn't believe her, but a few months later, when I finally switched to much better products, it was a night and day difference, and she was totally right. And in this time span, my hair went from looking like this to looking like this. And I actually started to see real progress on my waves too. So I hope that you now understand that the brand and the type of products you use actually matter. And the most popular product is typically not the best product to use. Look at this. Over 50% of Americans suffer from something like dandruff, dry scalp, seborrheic dermatitis, etc. 50%, that's half of all people. Yet, when we look at places like Europe that have a lot healthier hair care markets, I know this, I'm literally studying this in my entrepreneurship class, I'm doing research for this. Europe sees around 15 to 20% people suffer from hair care and hair health related issues. And they have much healthier markets and much stricter regulations and stuff like that. You know that. That's why they made the iPhone go from Lightning to USB-C. That had to do with EU regulations. And those same EU regulations made it go from 50% of Americans, which is around the same population, not the same population, it's around half the population of Europe. 50% though, to 15 to 20% suffering from hair care issues. You can see that the problem is in the mainstream ingredients. When you turn on TV and you see a L'Oreal ad, and then you go look in the back of the bottle and it has just an insane ingredient list. Causation isn't correlation, but due to the amount of sample size we have of the effects of healthier hair care markets onto people's hair, it's undisputable the type of products that Americans are using, that you have in your bathroom, that your grandma's been using, are not healthy for our hair. And there's a high chance that you literally clicked on this video because your hair health isn't perfect. It isn't as good as you know it can be. So an actionable step I want you to do right now, literally, go into your bathroom, and if you personally bought something like Cantu, just go ahead, pick it up, throw it in the trash can. And if you can, send me a picture and put that in the Discord server, link in the description. I don't know, I'll probably send you a product or something if you do that, because that would be dope, and that's showing that you're willing to take action on something. Please, please, please don't go around throwing away your mom's Shea Moisture. Don't go around throwing out your mom's or your grandma's products. Make sure it's yours if you're doing this. Like, I don't want anybody getting in trouble over this. But instead of throwing out their products, you can go ahead, send them this video, send them some studies, just inform them that they can be doing better for their hair with an easy swap. So now that you understand what type of products to use and you've thrown out the bad ones, and hopefully you're doing your proper research for the good ones, it's time to put these products into use. And how we're gonna put your products to use is by setting a foundation. And the foundation for any hair care routine is your wash. Your wash days are literally the anchor to your entire hair care journey. If you have a bad day, if you get mud in your waves, if something happens, someone pours sprinkles, if someone's chasing you around your campus with whipped cream on a pep rally, true story by the way, and you get it all in your hair, your wash is the foundation to fix mistakes, reset, and anchor your week as a whole. Back when I was in high school, I used to wash my hair on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I used to do it in this order because I would typically have basketball practice or track practice or something on Mondays and Tuesdays, right? So if I'm washing on Mondays and Tuesdays, that means usually Tuesdays and Thursdays were the days I would spend moisturizing. And all the other days, I'll be using other much lighter products. But those wash days set the foundation, and they set the foundation in so many different ways than just adding products, because guess what? Everybody knows a barber's weekend is on Sunday and Monday. You can't go ahead and if you get a haircut on Sunday, you're paying like $100. Like, it's a special appointment. So I knew this. I wouldn't get my haircuts on Friday or Saturday, you know, I wasn't going out all the time, and I wanted my hair cut for school and stuff like that. So by the time Monday would roll around, it's like my lineup, my blackout, it's just gone, it's faded. It looks like how my hair looks right now. But if I got my hair cut on Tuesday, it just happens to be the day after I washed my hair, and that's also the same day I'm moisturizing. So it just worked out perfectly for me. And this is what I mean by your wash days or the foundation to your entire hair care routine. When setting a hair care routine, you don't decide what day you're going to apply your products. You decide what day you're going to wash your hair, and then you branch off from that. And if you ever get out of routine, if life hits you, if you wake up without your do-rag, if your hair gets messed up, you can just go ahead and wash your hair on that day and reset your entire routine according to what works. And a bonus tip you can do to increase your hair health when you're washing is 2 things. 1, use a shampoo bar. Like I said, this ties back to the first point that the American hair care market is a lot worse, because the European hair care market uses a lot more things like shampoo bars that are a lot less harsh, and they provide more lather to your hair. Shampoo bars provide better lather. They don't need as much sulfates. Sulfates are a cleaning agent used in cars, spaceship engines, etc., and also your hair. So you probably don't need something that harsh. By using something like a shampoo bar, you get much better lather, which means your hair is getting cleaner, but less harsh ingredients, and lather is the best thing for waves. If you want better waves, better wave progress, better washes, utilize thicker lather. And the second thing you can do is apply oils at the end of your washing styles. Now, I honestly might be wrong with this, because I've been applying oils near the end of my washing styles, and the lather just gets so much better. Sometimes it even changes colors, and that's pretty cool. Then I rinse it out with cold water. It only takes 30 seconds, and my results get a lot better, and my hair smells nice. And it's especially useful if you have to go long periods the next day without being able to moisturize your hair, like if you're getting a haircut after school or after work or something like that. But the reason I said I lied is because this method has been so useful and effective, I'm starting to think that it should be integrated as one of the first steps of the washing style instead of having it at the end. Because like I said, it makes the lather better, makes your hair smells better. It might be able to exfoliate in your hair follicles and scalp a little bit longer. So I will try that out. Try that out and let me know you see a noticeable effect by moving it closer towards the start of your washing styles. But the effects, regardless of when you do it, will be much better. But one important thing you must do is rinse your hair out with cold water, because if you rinse your hair out with hot water, your pores are open, you're just gonna rinse out the oil. Because we have to rinse our hair out anyways, you don't wanna keep shampoo in our hair. But if you rinse it out with cold water, the nutrients from the oil will already be absorbed into your follicles, and you'll be good. And also just make sure that you're rinsing your hair out really well. If you don't have waves, just make sure that you're just spending a little bit more effort. But if you have waves and you have to rinse your hair out with your do-rag on, please make sure that you're spending the extra time to doing that correctly. You can do it in the sink, in the shower, whatever is easier to you. Don't have shampoo in your hair. If you're using an all-natural shampoo bar or conditioner bar, it's a little bit more forgiving, but don't do it consistently. But just make sure you're rinsing out your hair. Now that your foundation is set, it's very important that you understand the order of which you set your products, because if the order is wrong, it's completely useless. End up doing nothing. You just end up wasting the product and wasting your time. And this is because not all products are created equal. Some of them are water-based and some of them are oil-based. Doesn't mean one is better than the other, they just have different roles. Water-based products are supposed to do is provide the moisture to your hair. You know, oil isn't exactly moisture. You know, you can't put water in a car engine because the moisture is going to destroy it. But what do we put in the engine instead? Oil. It's not exactly the same type of oil, but the principle still stands. And what oil-based products are supposed to do, they're supposed to A, provide nutrients to your hair, similar to water-based products, but B, they're mainly supposed to seal in the moisture in your hair, which is why it's a huge mistake when you see people only using oils and only using pomades and only using butters, and they say they're moisturizing their hair. That's not. They're not, because they're locking in dryness. Moisturizers, aka moisturizers, are the water, but sealants, aka they literally call sealants, seal the moisture in your hair. And I can prove it to you right now. Here I have a cup of water, nothing else in it, just water. Imagine that the bottom layer, or the bottom or whatever, or the cup itself, I don't know, however you want to put it, is your hair, right? And then the water is the moisture. I'll explain why you don't want to put this much water or water-based products in your hair. Now, this represents your sealants and your oils, your sealant oils, even penetrative oils. Look what happens when I pour the oil in the water. See that? It doesn't mix, and the oil will always be on above the water. Water will never be on top of oil. This is the phenomenon that happens in your hair when you properly moisturize. So this is what it actually looks like. So let's assume that you just wash your hair, it's totally dry, there's no products, no nothing. Now is a perfect time to add your water-based products. So you would use something like a leave-in or even some moisturizers. Just make sure that the first ingredient in those products, as listed, is water. You could hypothetically use water, but the reason you don't want to do that is because the more pure water you use on your hair, the more prone it is to overcurling. That's why even something like this, you want to use a very, very, very little bit of leave-in. Not a tiny, tiny little bit, maybe a little bit less than a dime size, because if your hair overcurls, that's actually a good thing. That means it's receiving moisture, but for waves, it's not the best thing. So for waves, we kind of have to hijack and manipulate nature to properly moisturize. But if you do this correctly, if you do what I'm saying, you'll get it eventually. So right after we put in our water-based products for waves, I don't recommend you brush, because then you're just giving it time for your hair to overcurl. That means it is getting hydrated, but it means your waves aren't waves anymore, because waves lay down curls and they're now lifting up. Then you want to immediately go in with your sealant. So your sealant can be a butter, it can be a pomade, it can even be a sealant oil. The main difference between sealant oils, penetrative oils are a little bit too thin to really be a sealant, but sealant oils are thick like jar, like tar, and they'll be able to properly lay your hair down and seal in your hair to around a similar degree that something like a pomade would. So right after you put in your leave-in, that's when you want to put in your sealant. And then that's when you want to do your brush session if you're doing a brush session. In a future video, I'll show you not so much a secret, but a new moisturizing method I like to use, so you can get rid of, over curling and stuff like that for waves. But after you put that in, you can do your brush session now, you're brushing. Then towards the end of the session, that's when I personally like to use some type of penetrative oil, or what I've actually been doing, I've just been mixing in the penetrative oil with whatever butter I have, and then put that in. Then I like to rag up, and I do like to put in a hot towel afterwards. I don't recommend putting the towel in the microwave. Make sure your sink water is really, really hot. Put a towel under that, squeeze it out. You don't want it to be too wet, just a little bit damp. Put it over your head, wait for your hair to completely dry, and your hair will be perfectly moisturized, and your results will actually look really great. Because when you do a wash and style, your results look pretty great because your hair is super laid. You'll get that same effect, but it'll look even better because your hair is moisturized properly. Now that you know how to properly moisturize your hair, the only way it sticks is with a routine. And that's why I made a playlist of all the routines that I've been doing along my years of waving. So watch these videos next so you can properly lock in your own routine. And if you'd like me to send you a checklist version of all these routines, sign up to the email list, top link in the description. I'll send it to you totally free, along with weekly wave tips to help you on your journey. Thanks for watching. God bless.